Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Judy Garland was an iconic American actress, singer, and vaudevillian, widely regarded as one of the greatest performers of the 20th century. Born Frances Ethel Gumm on June 10, 1922, in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, she began performing in vaudeville with her sisters at a young age. Her extraordinary talent and emotional depth made her a beloved figure in film and music, though her life was also marked by personal struggles and tragedy. Garland's breakthrough came at age 16 when she starred as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, a role that would define her legacy. Her rendition of Over the Rainbow became one of the most enduring songs in American pop culture and won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, she became one of MGM's top stars, known for her work in musicals such as Meet Me in St. Louis, 1944, Easter Parade, 1948, and Summerstock, 1950. Often alongside frequent co-stars like Mickey Rooney and Gene Kelly. Despite her on-screen success, Garland faced severe personal challenges. She endured years of emotional turmoil, stemming in part from the pressures of Hollywood, studio control over her image, and a long history of substance abuse that began during her teen years. After parting ways with MGM in the 1950s, she reinvented herself as a concert performer, delivering legendary live shows like the one recorded at Carnegie Hall in 1961. Often called the greatest night in show business history, her dramatic talents also shone in serious roles, most notably in A Star is Born, 1954, for which she received an Academy Award nomination. Though she did not win, her performance is still considered one of the finest of her career. Judy Garland passed away on June 22, 1969, in London, at the age of 47. Her death, caused by an accidental overdose, shocked the world. Yet her legacy lives on through her music, her films, and the profound emotional resonance she brought to every performance. Garland's influence can still be seen in generations of performers who followed her, and her story remains a poignant symbol of both the magic and the cost of fame. Early life and beginnings. Judy was the youngest of three daughters born to vaudeville performers Frank and Ethel Gumm. The family moved to California when she was a child, and Judy quickly became a standout in the family act, the Gumm Sisters. Her natural charisma and powerful contralto voice amazed audiences, even as a young girl. In 1935, at just 13, she was signed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM, one of Hollywood's most powerful studios at the time. The studio changed her name to Judy Garland, and soon, she was on the path to superstardom. MGM stardom and image control. Garland's years at MGM were both triumphant and tormenting. She was frequently cast as the wholesome girl next door and starred in several backyard musicals that became staples of the 1930s and 40s. However, the studio also exerted strict control over her appearance. Executives believed she was not conventionally attractive and subjected her to extreme diets, stimulants to keep her working long hours, and sleeping pills to counteract the stimulants. This created a damaging cycle of drug dependency and emotional instability that haunted her for the rest of her life. Peak career highlights. Among her most acclaimed films were The Wizard of Oz, 1939, her most iconic role. The film became a classic, and Over the Rainbow, an anthem of longing and hope. Meet Me in St. Louis, 1944, directed by her future husband Vincent Minnelli. This musical introduced hits like The Trolley Song, The Harvey Girls, 1946, and Easter Parade, 1948, showcased her versatility and comedic timing. A Star is Born, 1954, a comeback performance that demonstrated her dramatic depth and vocal power. Though she lost the Oscar, she won the Golden Globe and universal praise. Struggles and comebacks. Garland's personal life was fraught with difficulties. She married 5 times and faced financial instability, mental health issues, and addiction. In 1950, MGM terminated her contract, citing her unreliability. But Garland was resilient. She reinvented herself as a concert artist and became one of the most celebrated live performers of her era. Her 1961 Judy at Carnegie Hall album won 4 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. Television and later work in the early 1960s, Garland starred in The Judy Garland Show, a weekly television variety program. Though critically acclaimed and showcasing her immense talent, the show was cancelled after 1 season due to low ratings. Nonetheless, it left behind performances that many consider some of the finest of her career. Her final years were marked by financial stress, declining health, and erratic behavior. Despite these struggles, she continued to perform, giving concerts and making film appearances, including I Could Go On Singing, 1963, her last film. Legacy. Judy Garland was posthumously awarded a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and has multiple recordings in the Grammy Hall of Fame. She was also ranked among the greatest female screen legends by the American Film Institute. More than just a performer, Garland became a cultural icon and a symbol of emotional honesty, resilience, and the bittersweet cost of fame. She remains a revered figure in the LGBTQ+ community, in part because of her status as an outsider in Hollywood and her ability to convey deep, authentic emotion through her voice and performances. Judy Garland's impact continues through her daughter, Liza Minnelli, a superstar in her own right, and through the enduring power of her work. From film reels to vinyl records, from the yellow brick road to Carnegie Hall, Garland's voice still resonates, a voice that carried both joy and heartbreak in equal measure. Judy Garland's life is one of the most compelling stories in entertainment history, a tale of immense talent, cultural influence, and profound struggle. Her legacy is multifaceted, encompassing film, music, theater, television, and enduring status as a symbol of perseverance and vulnerability. Musical legacy. Judy Garland wasn't just an actress, she was one of the greatest vocal interpreters of American popular song. Her voice carried a unique emotional power, rich, expressive, and deeply human. Whether performing in a recording studio or live on stage, Garland had the rare ability to make listeners feel as though she were speaking directly to them. Signature songs include Over the Rainbow, the quintessential Garland performance, filled with longing and innocence. The Man That Got Away, a bluesy torch song from A Star Is Born that showed off her dramatic vocal maturity. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, introduced in Meet Me in St. Louis. It became a timeless holiday standard. Come Rain or Come Shine, and Zing, Went the Strings of My Heart, showcased her stylistic range and jazz inflections. Her 1961 live double album Judy at Carnegie Hall is still considered one of the greatest live recordings in music history. The concert displayed her unfiltered artistry and received overwhelming praise, earning her a then unprecedented 4 Grammy Awards. Influence on future generations. Garland's influence spans decades. Artists such as Barbra Streisand, Rufus Wainwright, Lady Gaga, Liza Minnelli, her daughter, and many Broadway stars have cited her as a major influence. Her emotional delivery and phrasing set a standard for musical storytelling. She also helped pave the way for other performers who sought to break free of studio-imposed images. Her courage in confronting personal demons, though often forced into public view, helped open up conversations around mental health, addiction, and the pressures placed on women in the entertainment industry. LGBTQ+ icon Judy Garland is considered a gay icon, a status cemented not only by her artistry but by her identification with struggle, survival, and emotion. Her concerts were frequently attended by gay men at a time when LGBTQ+ identity was still criminalized or marginalized. Her death in June 1969, just days before the Stonewall riots, is often symbolically linked to the birth of the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. Her line, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," took on broader cultural resonance, becoming an anthem for anyone yearning for a better, freer world. Personal life and tragedy. Garland's personal life was tumultuous and often heartbreaking. She had 5 marriages. David Rose, composer; Vincent Minnelli, film director and father of Liza Minnelli; Sid Luft, manager and father of her 2 other children, Lorna and Joey Luft; Mark Herron, Mickey Deans, whom she married shortly before her death. Throughout her adult life, Garland battled depression, exhaustion, and addiction, much of it originating from her mistreatment as a child star and years of overwork. She declared bankruptcy more than once and faced exploitative contracts and financial mismanagement. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland died of an accidental barbiturate overdose in London at age 47. The world mourned her deeply, and her funeral in New York City drew thousands of fans. Honors and remembrance. Even decades after her passing, Garland's life and career continue to be celebrated. In 1997, The Wizard of Oz was declared the most watched film of all time by the Library of Congress. In 2001, she received a posthumous Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2019, Renee Zellweger portrayed Garland in the biopic Judy, winning the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance. Garland has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for film and one for music. Her legacy is also preserved through institutions like the Judy Garland Museum in her hometown of Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and through her enduring presence in classic film archives and streaming platforms. Final reflection. Judy Garland lived a life that was often heartbreaking but always extraordinary. She remains a towering figure in entertainment, both for her dazzling performances and her raw humanity. Her story is a reminder of both the cost of brilliance and the beauty that can emerge from vulnerability. Through heartbreak, courage, and song, Judy Garland found her place over the rainbow and left a legacy that will never fade. Judy Garland's life and career offer an extraordinary reflection of Hollywood's golden age, the glamour, the exploitation, and the enduring magic. To understand her fully is to see not just a star, but a deeply human artist who gave everything she had, sometimes at great personal cost. Child stardom and emotional toll. When Garland joined MGM at age 13, she was immediately swept into a system that both celebrated and manipulated her. Executives referred to her as the Little Hunchback and constantly criticized her appearance. They forced her onto a regimen of pills to control her weight, energy, and sleep, habits that led to a lifelong dependence on prescription drugs. She was often paired with Mickey Rooney in cheerful teen musicals, and their chemistry was undeniable. Yet off-screen, Garland was already experiencing anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional instability. Unlike many child stars, she did not fade from public view after adolescence, but the price of maintaining that success was steep. A Star is Born, 1954. Triumph and tragedy. Her 1954 film A Star is Born was meant to be her triumphant return to the big screen after being dismissed by MGM. Garland poured her heart and soul into the role of Esther Blodgett, a rising star whose mentor and husband descends into alcoholism. The film mirrored aspects of her own life and allowed her to showcase dramatic chops and powerhouse vocals. Critics hailed her performance as the best of her career. However, studio interference and poor editing choices marred the release. Despite being the favorite, Garland lost the Oscar to Grace Kelly, a moment many in Hollywood considered a great injustice. Garland later joked, "I didn't win the Oscar, but I had a baby," referring to the birth of her son Joey. Judy the concert legend. As film roles became scarce, Garland transitioned to live concerts and became an even greater sensation. Her ability to connect with an audience, often through her pain, created almost spiritual experiences for those in attendance. Her shows weren't just performances, they were catharses. She could deliver a ballad like "Stormy Weather" or "The Man That Got Away" with such vulnerability that audiences were often brought to tears. Her concerts at the London Palladium and Carnegie Hall became legendary, reviving her career in the early 1960s and cementing her status as an entertainer of rare emotional depth. The Judy Garland Show, a showcase of brilliance. In 1963, Garland starred in The Judy Garland Show on CBS. Though the show faced behind-the-scenes tension and fluctuating time slots, it became a critical treasure trove of musical performances. Garland sang with legends like Barbra Streisand, Peggy Lee, Tony Bennett, and her own daughter, Liza Minnelli. The series revealed her spontaneity, warmth, humor, and incredible timing. Despite the artistic success, the show was canceled after one season, another disappointment in a life marked by creative highs and industry betrayals. Final years, a life frayed by the late 1960s. Garland was physically frail and emotionally worn. Financial ruin haunted her, and her health declined rapidly. She continued to perform in Europe and America, often in compromised condition. Still, fans came, drawn not by polish but by the raw emotional honesty she brought to every note. Her final marriage to Mickey Deans was short-lived and troubled. On June 22, 1969, just 12 days after her 47th birthday, she died in her London home. Her cause of death, an accidental overdose, was a tragic ending to a life defined by struggle and resilience. Cultural impact and symbolism. Judy Garland came to represent far more than just a performer. She was a cultural symbol of resilience, despite being battered by studios, media, and personal demons. She always returned to the stage. Of vulnerability, her emotional openness made audiences feel seen and understood. Of artistic authenticity, she never faked it. Her performances were real, beautiful, flawed, powerful. Of queer liberation, Garland's empathy and outsider status resonated deeply with LGBTQ+ communities. The phrase, "a friend of Dorothy," referencing her Wizard of Oz character, became code for gay identity at a time when open expression was dangerous. Continuing influence. Judy Garland's life has inspired countless films, plays, books, and academic studies. Her children, Liza Minnelli, Lorna Luft, and Joey Luft, have spoken about her strength and her love for performing. Modern tributes like the 2019 biopic Judy, starring Renee Zellweger, have introduced her story to new generations. To this day, Garland's music and films are widely streamed, studied, and celebrated. Her voice, once described as the sound of a heartbreaking, still has the power to stir deep emotion. Closing thoughts.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.